Got to increase that money stream, man.
Gotta get it.
Yeah. Let me make sure the good people can share it. We're going to introduce ourselves in just a second. We're back on live. And we are live. Welcome back to the Coach and Coach podcast. I am your defensive coordinator. Let me cut my volume down over here so I won't be sounding too crazy, but I am your defensive coordinator. I am Coach Marks, and I try my best, guys. I do. I try my best to try to keep points off the board, but sometimes it don't work out like that, man. But we do figure out a way to make it happen. And that guy right beside me, or that guy in that little box, if you're following us on TikTok, and make sure you hit that button on TikTok, hit that screen. Tap the screen, man. But that fella that's right beside me, or that fella that's right there in that little box right there, that is our offensive coordinator. Offense now is starting to win championships. It used to be defense win championships, but now all you need to do is just make sure you don't let them score 33 points. But we'll get to that later on. But man, how was your day today, buddy?
It's good. I've sat down. I'm kind of exhausted. I've had soccer every night, and I get home. I'm trying to break down high school games, break down college games, trying to get this content ready. So I'm glad we got a show tonight, and, just wish we'd stop kicking the ball in the other team's goal and helping them out. But it is what it is. At least we're making goals. We have a really high kick percentage. I feel like it's just not always in our goal.
Well, hey, tonight, man, Bruce Lady Trojans, junior high Trojans got their first win tonight. Man, that's why my voice kind of shot right now. But man, they played a good game tonight. We played Coffeyville tonight, and we won it. I was so proud of the girls. I don't have number 7 girls, but man, they went out there. They played their hardest. I don't even know if they know where they was going, what they was doing, but we shot in the correct goal, and we made the correct points. So when you got that going, man, then you just roll on with it. But, man, we got a lot we got to talk about, man. It seems like it's been a long time since we've been on. I'm going to tell you something, man. I give it up for those streamers who stay online for 10, 15, 20 hours. Man, that's a whole nother monster by itself.
Yeah, a little mentally exhausted after the game. And, I went live Sunday night, and I had a bunch of people talking to me, and after you've answered so many questions, it starts getting the same way. So, but I've really enjoyed this, and the off nights, you hate that you're off. Like, I'm glad tonight's a night that we're on. I really enjoy it.
I was looking forward to tonight, but what was funny, when I got to class on Monday, I tried to do the Sunday night football, but man, after last night, that game didn't end till about 12 o'clock. I wasn't staying up to no 12 o'clock to talk about no football game, but as soon as I got to class, one of my students said, Coach, you looked a little sleepy last night. I said, because I was sleepy. I was trying my best to try to give you an evaluation on the day, but man, my body was shutting down. So, but man, hey, your college breakdown was top notch, buddy. It was top notch.
Thank you. I'm trying to get better. They asked about some teams. I wasn't expecting to see there's people from all over, and I've been working to break some teams down. I've watched a ton of games since Sunday night. I got off Sunday night, and I was like, well, if we're gonna do this, I've got to get locked in. I rewatched games Sunday night, Monday night, today on my lunch break. I'm in full football mode right now.
Yeah, I found myself watching a lot of games as well, and then I was also watching some high school games, and I can't wait to the segment because I saw some of Governor Breesy's picks this week, and I scratched my head on some. So I can't wait to talk to him Thursday night to see what's going on. But once again, we welcome everybody to the Coach and Coach podcast. Hit that subscribe button on TikTok if you're watching us on TikTok or listening to us on TikTok. tap that screen for us, please. Just tap that screen. Let us know you're with us. If you want to talk to us, talk to us. I got my computer right here, got my computer fingers right here, and then I got my eyes right there. Coach got his eyes on both things. So we're going to be able to communicate with you guys. But talk to us tonight. Let us know how you feel. Let us know about the show. If you missed the live tonight, now you shouldn't miss the live. You ought to be contacting somebody right now and telling them the Coach and Coach podcast is on. I don't know what happened Sunday night, but they weren't on, but they're on now. Share it right now. I dare you to share it. Share it right now. You know how we used to do when we were kids. I dare you to do it. That's usually how you get people to do stuff. You like, I dare you to do it. So I dare you to share that button. I dare you to hit that share button on Facebook, and y'all go ahead and check us out. But also, if you can't catch the live, make sure you look on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast in the morning. The show will be available. But when you do that, click on that subscribe button, rate us, let us know how we done, let us know what we need to get better on, and then we'll roll from there. But Coach, man, let's dive right into it. You had some very good takes on the top 25, and I did want to pull that top 25 up to get us rolling and just kind of look at the landscape, because we are basically 67% done with college football. Man, that sounds crazy. We just got started, man. And college football is almost gone. High school football is almost gone, man.
Yeah, it's flown by, and as much as I enjoy the holiday season, like I love Thanksgiving, and we'll eventually have to start talking about college basketball.
Yep.
When you get to that point, though, you're getting to a spot where it's going to slow down and it's starting to get over with, and so you're like you're hoping that time will slow down a little bit and you can soak it in.
Well, this is the mecca. This is the mecca of sports right now, because you got the NBA started tonight. The Houston Rockets traveled to OKC, and then later on in the nightcap, you got the Golden State Warriors going to Los Angeles to play the Lakers. And that's who kicks off the NBA season on tonight. But you also got the World Series coming up. You got NFL going full throttle right now. In a couple of weeks, you're going to have college basketball rolling. You got NCAA rolling. So this is the mecca time. This is the peak season of sports. But let's talk about that top 25. I'm going to run down the top 25, and then, Coach, I'm going to let you kind of lead us on that. Coming in at number 25, Michigan. Michigan checks in at number 25. Arizona State checked in at number 24. You got Illinois at number 23. Texas is barely holding on. They're at 22. They're one loss away from being out of the top 25 after being the number one team in the nation. They are one loss away from being out of the top 25.
It's coming Saturday, Coach.
It's coming, buddy. It's over with. After what they looked like last week, but we'll talk about it. Cincinnati is number 21. LSU is number 20. Louisville is number 19. South Florida still holding on. They're number 18. Tennessee is number 17. Virginia is number 16. Missouri is number 15. Texas Tech is number 14. Oklahoma is number 13. You got Notre Dame, and I told you, I knew it. They want to keep Notre Dame. Look where Notre Dame is. They're in the playoffs right now. If we ended the season right now, Notre Dame is in the playoff. I told you, Coach, they were going to keep them close enough. We got to.
They're in. Like, I think that.
Oh man,
they played the hardest part of their schedule. I think they're gonna. They've kept them around, and they've. Notre Dame's done their job to make sure they stay around now. So I think it's safe to say, like, if you're an SEC, an Ole Miss fan, Mississippi State ain't got a shot, but you're an SEC fan, you're wanting them to get that next loss, and I don't see it.
I don't see it, and then they don't have to deal with a conference championship.
Nope.
They just play it out, win it out, and they're in the playoff. That is why they kept them so close when they was losing, and I don't care who they was losing to, they were losing. But anyway, they kept them in there. You got BYU at number 11. You got Vanderbilt checking in the top 10 for the first time. It got to be the first time in history.
I would think so. I need to do a Google search
We
for
need
that.
to check that. That got to be the first time in history that Vanderbilt is in the top 10. You got Miami. After that loss, checks in at number 9. You got Ole Miss after the loss, checks in at number 8. So they only dropped 4 spots.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of, when you're playing on the road in SEC, I think the voters understand that.
You get the benefit
Georgia
of the
Tech
doubt.
checks in at number 7. You got Oregon at number 6. You got UGA, Georgia at number 5. You got Alabama, which is the scariest team in college football right now. Man, I was ready to call it a day. We was talking about Lane Kiffin might be going to Alabama. We started talking about all these coaches that might be going to Alabama. Well, guess what? Alabama is back. They checks in at number 4. Texas A&M, who you really believe in, that I kind of semi-believe in, they checks in at number 3. You got Indiana. Coach, think about this. Notre Dame and Indiana is in the top 12. What a time!
Basketball season.
What a time to be in the state of Indiana. Y'all are living it up right now. And to top off the number 1 team in the nation, Ohio State stays at number 1. So, Coach, tell me what big surprises, or if there's any, in the top 25 this week.
I just think, just look at the era that we're in with the transfer portal and all the parity you get. I mean, when you talk about what sticks out to you, you have Ole Miss, Indiana, Vanderbilt in your top 10. I mean, and Georgia Tech's at 7.
Vanderbilt is in the top 10, Coach. Let
10.
that sink in, man. Oh, man.
I just think that, it speaks to what the landscape is today, that if you go out, you put together a solid staff that can go get in this portal and get guys committed to your program, you can turn it around. Vandy has been a perennial loser. Indiana's been a perennial loser in football. And now I think that Vanderbilt could potentially get in the playoffs. I think, they've got to navigate their schedule a little bit. I think they're in. I think Indiana could go make a deep run. Like, I think they are legitimate. And then, Georgia Tech's in the ACC, where if they can just handle their business, they're in. I mean, I think it's a situation where they could even steal a bye because they could be a highest ranked conference champion. And then you look like BYU's at 11, Virginia's at 16. I just think that Illinois is at 23. I just think there's a ton of parity. You do have your traditional powerhouses like Bama, like Georgia, Oregon's, not in more recent, I'd say over the last 2 decades, they've stepped into that role as being a power. But it's a lot more mixed and jumbled, and the field has evened from what it used to be. Wow. And then I think, the other thing is the missed opportunity. Memphis, drops a game last week.
That blew a golden opportunity.
That game with South Florida, I think that had a playoff spot on the line, and now it's over with. And now, they could go ruin South Florida's chances, and a Navy stick out, or Boise State somehow gets back into the picture, because I think they've got a schedule that they can navigate. I just think that it's wide open. There's a lot of football left to be played too, and this thing could end up in a million directions.
Well, Coach, I'm looking at Indiana's schedule. Man, they're going to run the table. They got UCLA.
Don't sleep on them now, since they've made a coaching change.
But it's at Indiana. So I don't think if they were going to UCLA, I would think a little bit different. But they get UCLA at home. They go to Maryland the following week. Then they go to Penn State. Now, Penn State still have Penn State talent.
Yeah.
So they still have Penn State talent. So you really can't rule Penn State all the way out. They get Wisconsin at home, and then they wrap up the regular season going to Purdue. The combined record of the teams that they got coming up is, 7-7, 10-11, 12-16, 14-21 is the combined schedule combined win and loss of the teams that they're facing. So they can run the table and see Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, but both teams are in. If Indiana runs the table and play Ohio State for the Big Ten championship, both of those teams are in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and there's a chance because I don't think you get punished in your conference championship game.
No,
Indiana will host; they'll at least host in the first round. They're not traveling anywhere, so
no.
I think it's shout out to Coach Signetti. I think he's done a tremendous job in that program. And when you look at them, man, it's not like they're physical, like a Big Ten team. They have a ton of speed, and they have a quarterback that is slinging it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they are legitimate.
And that's the thing. They, like you just said, they are that prototypical Big Ten gritty, but they got speed with it.
Right.
Coach, hold on 1 second. Go ahead and talk a little bit. Let me move something out the way.
But yeah, just continue all to see. Just talk about the parity. You still got, you know, Arizona State still doing things pretty well. They're 5-2 on the year. Cincinnati's at 21. I mean, that's a sleeper. Like who was thinking that they were going to do anything? And then I want to do a deeper dive into, especially when we get into Thursday, doing more of the preview of the games. I'm going to do a deeper dive over I started today and then got caught up. Well, got my lunch break ended and I had to go back to work, but started breaking down some BYU. I think they're a really interesting team. I think they're a team that fits that. They look like a Big 12 team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they kind of look undersized in some areas, but they've got a ton of speed with it. They're like I think of their defensive line is like what you think of when you go back to the old Big 12 that was kind of offensive. Their defense looks like
No defense.
defenses, yeah, like that. But they do. I mean, they somehow are playing at a really high clip. It just doesn't look like it looks like they should be playing in a bunch of 40 to 39 games, but they've handled their business, and I think they're an interesting story. And I know there's listeners out there that I got asked several times about them, and I couldn't give them my honest take because they play so late at night most of the time. So I got to do a better job, and I'm going to get into them. I think they're an interesting story.
Well, looking at the SEC schedule this weekend, we do have some. I think these SEC games this week is going to really turn the page on what we're about to run into. I think a lot of the things that we want to get answers about is going to come in fruition this weekend. With Ole Miss going to Oklahoma, you got Auburn and Arkansas. I know Hugh Freeze have toughed out the Auburn deal, but if he loses to Arkansas this week,
I
that
think
got to be it.
And I'm telling you, Coach, I that's the one game we're not previewing tonight, but when I get into what I've picked, that's probably my lock of the week. Arkansas scores enough points. I don't think Auburn scores enough. That's probably my lock of the week. I'm going Arkansas to probably end the Hugh Freeze era.
Well, Coach, I really looked at what you brought up about Auburn's quarterback, and just watching him play, it's just not there.
And it's unfortunate for him at times too. Like I watched a lot of the Auburn Missouri game, and he throws a beautiful pass, probably an 80-yard touchdown. And I think it's Coleman was the receiver that dropped it, and then the next play turned around and threw a pick. Like it's just they don't.
Sometimes
it's like they fall apart under pressure. Like it just doesn't, and that falls back on coaching.
yeah, I was just about to
the
say.
talent is there. Like they are. I think they're very good defensively, and for some reason, it's just not panned out for them on offense.
Well, just to continue on in the SEC, you got Alabama going to South Carolina. I no longer believe in South Carolina. They let me down this weekend.
I'm done with them.
They are. I'm done with them.
I'm done
You
with
got
them.
Missouri. I think that's going to be a big one. Missouri goes to Vanderbilt. I think I don't believe neither one of those teams with 2 losses is going to get into the playoff picture. So whoever loses this game is eliminated from the playoff picture, because I guess you got to have a prominent name as well. And Missouri with 2 losses and Vanderbilt with 2 losses, or whichever one ended up with 2 losses, they're not going to make it into the playoffs. So I think this is an elimination game.
I
Um,
think I think 10-2 in the SEC should absolutely get you in the playoffs. But I think that we're running into a scenario where
going to have a
there's
lot of
going to
10
be
and
a
2.
ton of 10-2.
Yeah, and
So
you
someone could potentially get left out. And I'm going to tell you, if that's the case, there won't be a 12-team playoff. It'll be expanded. If somebody gets left out at 10-2 from the SEC, this thing will be expanded. I
it's
think
going to
that
happen.
is this the last year on the deal anyway?
I don't know. I know the SEC go to 9
Conference
division
game.
games next
And
next.
that's gonna straighten some of this stuff out.
Yeah, because you won't have no 10 and 2. you
Yeah.
know, um, you got Texas, Mississippi State is my pick this week. I say I'm putting it on record right
Your
now.
lock of the week.
Texas A&M is a 7.5 point favorite. Go with Mississippi State. I believe Mississippi State wins that game by 10. I believe Mississippi State beats Texas by 10 this weekend. Oh,
Hey,
you got Texas A&M going to LSU. I think this will go ahead and bump LSU out of the top 25. Now they do have a chance to, spoil things for A&M, but I just don't think it's going to happen. You got Tennessee going to Kentucky, so those are the SEC games this week. And I know we're going to talk more about Ole Miss and Oklahoma on Thursday, but the talk of the week, and it's going to be the talk of the next couple of weeks, is Lane Kiffin and Florida. And it's already buzzing. We've dealt with it with Auburn, and now it's Florida. What is your take on what you're hearing, and what do you see happening?
well, I mean, I've heard everything under the sun, and I just think right now, uh, because there is some confirmed news that there is no news. Keith Carter's confirmed, like it's. I think they're in the very early stages of getting an extension done anyway. And I don't think Kiffin is involved. He's not obviously not involved in any of that. That's going to be his agent. That when there's a deal on the table, that's when we'll know more. And I just don't think they're there yet. Um, but I think that with all the news you're hearing, I think it makes this game as important as it was to win anyway. I think it's that much more important because he could go out and get a big top 15 win on the road that would kind of reset things. But you lose this game, and does he wonder, like, can I get it done here? Is it possible here? Is it possible that I can go somewhere else and do it? Because it doesn't have to be Florida. If LSU comes open, I would be more scared if LSU comes open because I do think uh, I think that is a better job. I don't think Florida. I think Ole Miss and Florida. I don't
Lateral
think
move.
I think it's lateral. I do think though there's a difference in LSU and Florida.
Here,
And
here's my take, Coach. And we as Ole Miss fans, and I think I can't really speak for other, smaller schools deal with this a lot. We're probably one of the only schools in a power conference that deals with this on a yearly basis, as if Ole Miss is not a place you want to be at. Uh, the first thing I wanted to bring up, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the one thing I wanted to talk about was I looked at three coaches. Like I said, when I started following Ole Miss, Billy Brewer was the coach, and once Billy Brewer left, then I think we ended up with Joe Lee Dunn as an
you know,
interim. Joe Lee Dunn was an interim, and then we went, and we just so I think about three coaches. And you made a great point the other night. You made a great point. You said, what has Lane done that makes everybody so after Lane Kiffin, like that is the savior. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from what he has done at Ole Miss. I'm not taking but what I want fans to understand is that when I look at these three coaches, they all have had similar success. I looked at Cutcliffe, and I studied his. Cutcliffe had an 8-4, 7-5, 7-4, 7-6, and we had a 10-3, had a 10-3 Cotton Bowl win, and then he had the bad season. He went 4-7, and then after that, and that's kind of crazy that you can get what he came after Tuberville and was able to rally the troops back. And it's just amazing that in his rumors he didn't want to fire some of his staff, and that's why they went in another direction, whatever the case may be. But Cutcliffe went 44-29 at Ole Miss. He went 25-23 in the conference. He went 4-1 in the bowls. Went 4-1 in bowls. He ended in the top 25 twice. So now the landscape was different because it was more about recruiting players. Now,
Right.
you go to Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze, relatively new coach, comes in. He comes in, he takes over. He goes 7-6. Get us back to our first bowl. I remember going to that bowl game.
Heck of a coaching job.
Huh?
Heck of a coaching job in 12.
I went to the bowl game. We were so excited to be back in the bowl. Went to the bowl game. The next year he went 8-5. The next year he went 9-4. Probably had the most historic recruiting class in Ole Miss history.
Without a doubt.
In that time, people don't understand because everything is national news now. But in that time, that was national news. That was the greatest thing that had ever happened in Ole Miss history. I remember getting up that morning, early, 5 o'clock in the morning, just so I could see these people sign. It was something that we all looked forward to that day. He went, in that year, he went 10-3, and he went 5-7. Now, they got that wrong. Let me add that up. That's 15, that's 25, that's 30, that's 39, and you got 11, 15, 18, 25. So he went 30-25.
Which they probably got that, he had wins vacated.
Took that, forget that bull crap because they won. They won. I hate that crap, but because they had to go out there and play. He went 3-1 in the bowl. He finished twice in the top 25. Once again, recruiting players was important. You had to recruit the right players. Now, you go to Lane Kiffin. Oh, you can see I did my homework. I'm like you. I was like you on this one, Coach. Lane Kiffin. He started off 5-5. He went 10-3, 8-5, 11-2, 10-3. Awesome, right? You're hanging in that. You're hanging in that realm right there. Right now he's 6-1, so he got a record of 50-19 at Ole Miss, 28-17 in the SEC. He's 3-2 in bowl games and finished 3 times inside the top 15. I say all of that to say this. When Ole Miss fans panic over these situations, we're in an era now where recruiting a player ain't the major thing you got to do. You got to go recruit money. Because the players, it don't matter how good you can sit in somebody's living room and sell your program. No, you got to have money now. So
Right.
It's easier now. Now, definitely bad coaches are still bad coaches. But I think it's easier now to get. That's why when people say, well, if we lose Lane Kiffin, then we're done. No, you just got to get the money up. Because now it's not about recruiting players. What Cutcliffe, what Hugh Freeze, what Ed Ogeron, what Tuberville, what they had to deal with, they had to sell a program and they had to get the parents and the kid to believe in the program and the system. Now you gotta sell that company. You gotta sell that alumni member. You gotta sell that booster to, instead of writing a $10 million check, write us a $15 million check. The work on the players ain't even a major thing you got to do anymore. So that's why I say that if a coach leave, I think it's a lesser impact now than it would have been back then. And when you got a coach when people see this, people always look at Ole Miss as the Ed Ogeron. They look at Ole Miss as the last year of Cutcliffe. They look at Ole Miss as Matt Luke. They look at Ole Miss as Joe Lee Dunn. They forget about Cutcliffe. They forget about Hugh Freeze. Ole Miss have always been able to recover. And now with NIL, you don't have to go and get that. You don't have to really sell that player no more. You just got to have the money to get them.
I agree with you. And I mean, I agree with everything you say about the money. Like, I agree with everything. My problem, you talk about like saying that we're done, freaking out and things. This year is just different. I don't think this is the year you want to make a coaching change. I don't want to compete. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I don't want to compete with. All right, so right now we know Penn State's looking for a coach.
Yeah.
Florida's looking for a coach.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say
Auburn probably be looking for a coach. LSU might be looking.
Arkansas is looking for a coach. LSU's looking for a coach.
Or will be.
I think, or could possibly be. I mean, he could be wanting to get out of there himself and find. And I'm not saying he's going to get fired. He could just be wanting to go somewhere. Say someone comes and takes Clark Lee away from Vandy, which I don't think would happen, but I would open up a good-looking Vandy job these days. If somebody goes after Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State,
they're not.
They're not. I don't know, Coach. I think he's done a great job.
He's done a great job, but not enough for where somebody's knocking on the door for him to be a head coach somewhere.
But either way, there's a ton of potential job openings that you're going to be competing. So not only is the pool going to shrink that you can get because there's so many openings, but if you want your guy, you're going to have to pay top dollar for him on his first contract. I think that I would rather keep my guy that I know's had his run here, at least one more. If we're going to do this every year, I just don't think you want this to be the year to have to hire a new coach. I mean, there's going to be a ton of turnover. I mean, UCLA's open, Virginia Tech's open. If Shane Beamer goes to Virginia Tech, South Carolina's open. It's just.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. With the big turnover now in players, how big a difference is how big of an impact will it be? Because now even players don't even stay long enough. So the NCAA now has turned into the most inconsistent.
This is why I would want to keep my coach. Is you talk about turnover of players. I may have some guys get in the portal. I may process some guys out because I paid this much money for them and I didn't get the production. Well, right now, if I knew I was staying at a job, I could be on the phone with every kid at Florida. I could be on the phone with every kid at Penn State. I could go, and I hate to say it, it sounds icky saying it, but it's going on.
Yeah.
You can go tamper with all these kids and get the best players if you stay. And, coaches can leave because take these job openings and be able to probably take their entire roster with them if they wanted, and that's another thing. You don't have to worry about you really don't have to worry about hitting the ground recruiting hard because you can just take the team with you.
Yeah.
So I just think this is the year that you want to lock a deal down. I think it's and I don't know if it'll ever not be this bad again. I think Penn State kind of proved that by God, if they can raise $47 million to get their coach to leave, we can raise it too.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I'm speaking more of the Ole Miss fan. Don't lose it if it did happen, because we're in a different era now.
And I completely agree. Like I said, I completely agree with you. This is not this ain't a first take where we're arguing back and forth. I completely agree. I think, especially like trust your athletic department. I think Keith Carter's done a fantastic job, not only in football, but look at women's basketball, look at baseball, look at men's basketball. I know that basketball is his expertise, but he's done a really good job at whoever he's consulting with on things and doing the right things. I think you should just have faith in the Ole Miss athletic department that you're not going back into the basement.
And I hope they pull it off. Like me, I like consistency. You don't want to, like you said, you don't want to change coaches. Just like I remember, I forgot which coach it was. It might have been Orgeron where we was alternating quarterbacks every series. Like one game we played 3 quarterbacks in 3 straight series. That was one of the dumbest things I ever saw in my life. But and I want consistency, but also at the same time, and yeah, with your reference on that, make sure the public know I'm definitely not no Stephen A. Smith. So if we are arguing, let me be somebody else, because I definitely don't want to be him at all. He is such, that's a whole nother story. Do all that talking, but then when you're confronted by people, you shut your mouth. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But but
Reel it in, coach. Reel it in.
yeah, because I'm tired of looking at him on TV. He's so tough on everybody else's show and what he'll do, and didn't do nothing when he had the opportunity to do. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But it's the times are different now. Times are different now, and like I said, you don't have to go sell that kid on your program anymore. You just got to sell that kid that I'm going to get you that $2-3 million. Because right now,
And that's pretty much what it is. I know. I'm pretty sure Nick Saban was interviewed on it before he left Alabama, and he was like, "We couldn't sell an education. We couldn't sell that we were taking care of your kid.
that's done.
We were having to sell a bag." So I completely agree with you.
And hey, but you know what? These coaches that's complaining about it, you're the blame for it. These universities that's mad about it, you're the blame for it, because you made all of this money and you didn't take care of your student athletes. You had these kids pretty much living in poverty, but on TV every week, and you're cashing these $1 million checks. You hiring these coaches and guaranteeing them $27-28 million, and then they get up and leave. So if they're mad about NIL and where it is, blame yourself. Because what happened is just all these universities done made all of this money, and then they like to use, well, they're getting an education. That stuff ain't free. We know people that play college ball. That ain't free. Somebody, well, they're getting a free education. A lie? No, they not. The average student.
I mean, and besides the fact it's a job there. Like they're not, they get some free time, but they're not like the average college student on Thursday night. On Thursday night, we're going out on the town, or because we don't have class on Friday. It's not like that.
No.
So, I mean, I agree with you. I think that a long time ago, when I'm trying to think, who was the guy at Ohio State? Long time ago, who was signing cards and signing jerseys.
Maurice Claret.
Yeah. If you would have let players make money off their name, image, and likeness, and not crack down, you wouldn't have this problem right now.
Wouldn't have this problem at all.
And you may have gotten to it, but you would have had I think there would have been a build where you could make it work, where there could be a cap, where there could be but it all collided at one time, and once you let the tube out of the toothpaste, or the toothpaste out of the tube, there's no putting it back in.
That's a wrap then. So this weekend is going to really tell the story. I like your intake on it. I hope it happened like that. You tend to believe that the extension is going to come the week that Florida comes to town. So
I think that it would be a masterful troll job, and he's really good at that.
Yeah.
And if you want my opinion on the situation, I don't see why, when Ole Miss has proven that they'll give you everything you want, I think for you to leave that tells me that you can't get the job done. Not that you can't get the job done if you cannot do it because Ole Miss is willing to give you whatever they want. I mean, you had the 3rd most draft picks last year in the NFL. You can get players here. And I think that if they can retain the roster that they have now and process the guys out that I believe they misevaluated. I don't believe it's because we are just bad. I think they didn't have the money to go get top guys. I think they misevaluated the guys that they thought could produce for them on the defensive side of the ball.
Coach,
so
I think it's important for him, because what have Lane done?
Exactly. And that's what I tried to
done.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a bigger thing to put on your resume than to say you took Ole Miss to the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
to the
mean,
playoffs.
just to get to the playoffs would be huge.
No,
And
to get to the SEC championship, we've never been there. You'll be
yeah,
the first coach to
yeah.
say, I led Ole Miss to an SEC championship.
And I think it looks bad. Like the man put out a E60 documentary the week of the LSU game talking about why he didn't go to Auburn because he was going, and talked about why he didn't. I mean, he pretty much admitted I was going, and then Landry, my daughter, said, "Why
Wow.
are you leaving?" And I cried and I stayed. He's also not. I mean, he's what? He's 50. So why would I leave Ole Miss where if I go 9-3 for the rest of my life, they're probably not getting rid of him. I'm getting extensions hand over fist. Why would I leave? Like, I believe they're regardless of what he does, it's gonna be Vaught Hemingway Stadium, Kiffin Field.
Yeah.
Before when it's all said, if he wants it to be. And if he goes 9-3 at Florida, they will fire him. Ask Dan Mullen.
Wow. Because 9-3 in Florida means you didn't make the playoff. And
Yep.
Florida have unrealistic expectations.
There's two coaches that's won there, and they're Hall of Fame coaches, and that's Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer. Dan Mullen was doing well, but they fired him. He went 9-3, and I mean, it kind of fell apart at the end. But it fell apart at the end because he knew like they're going to run me out of here.
So and then really, what other job in the SEC is going to be cool with 9-3 outside of Vandy, Kentucky?
Mississippi State would love it right now.
Mississippi State. You're not going 9-3 at LSU, and they're pleased with that. You're not going 9-3 at Georgia, and they're pleased with that.
And let me rephrase.
You see what they did to Mark Richt?
Yeah, exactly.
He was a consistent winner, but he could not get them over the hump, and they got rid of him.
And let me rephrase. I don't think that 9-3 is okay at Ole Miss because they proved it last year. They took like 5,000 people to that bowl game, but they're not going to fire you at 9-3.
So regardless of how upset we get over things, 9-3 at Ole Miss, you better get to reality. 9-3 is great at Ole Miss. I know, we get upset when we don't get the opportunity to go to playoffs, and that's fine. You're supposed to be, but don't be stupid. Right. Don't be stupid. 9-3, because unless you went through enough of those 3 and 7s and 4 and 6 and all of that crap, man, we ain't won nothing yet. Before Nick Saban got to Alabama, they wasn't winning. Before he got to LSU, they wasn't winning.
Right.
So get to reality. Get to reality. So this week in college football is going to be, like I said, it's going to really tell a tale.
Yeah, it's a good slate, and I think that in some certain areas, I think some jobs could be lost.
Yeah.
And some potential jobs could get further down the line that they could be lost. I think it's a big week for a lot of schools.
Somebody in the chat said Ole Miss would have made the playoffs 5 out of 11 years in this current.
And that's true.
And that's what's crazy. That's true. That's true. We did not have that luxury with Cutcliffe or Hugh Freeze. Those two teams that they had would have made the playoffs.
I believe Freeze would have had, if there was a 12-team playoff, I believe in 15 he would have made the playoff. I believe in, let's say, the 21 team would have made the playoff. The 23 team would have made the playoff. And I think Freeze might have had 2 teams that, where they finished in the final rankings of the regular season, they would have been a playoff team.
Yeah, so
he's correct.
That's crazy, man. That's a true statement. But we will dive a little bit deeper. Coach is going to give us his notes, Coach's point on the college football scene on Thursday night. So make sure you join us Thursday night as well. Coach, this Friday, ain't no sense of trying to downplay it. There's no sense of trying to act like it ain't for real. We thought the Water Valley game was the biggest game of the season. Coach, Friday night is the biggest game of this year.
It is. It's a huge game,
Oh, man.
Difference in hosting a playoff game and traveling. And not only that, I think that this would be the statement win for Coach Darbone and his staff. If they could get it, it would be a potential program defining win if you can get it and have a chance to host that playoff game.
And you know what's crazy, Coach? The same conversation we just had about Ole Miss could be said for what's going on in Bruce right now. Because here's the thing: if we've clinched a winning season, and that hasn't happened a lot, the last 10, 15 years. But it's good that that's not enough. Now, I do want to touch on the importance of this game. We're going to go a lot deeper come Thursday night, but the importance of this game is, Coach, it's so crazy that we win this game. We are in the driver's seat for the number 2 seed. If we lose this game, Coach, we're probably out of the playoffs.
That's hard to believe, but I mean,
oh man, that is crazy.
The way this division is played out. I mean, you want to talk about all the parity in college football. It seems like in this division, it could be your night, any given night. I mean, even though Water Valley's locked up the 1 seed, they sweated. They've sweat a couple times. It's been a grind for them. And
Coach, even their last game of the season can cause a mess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If they go to East Union and lose, now we got another mess that we got to clean up. But let's look.
I love it as a fan.
Let's look at not me, man. I'm stressed out because we going somewhere or there's somebody coming here and it's stressing me out. But what we got right now is you got Myrtle, who is 2-1 in the division. Bruce is currently 0-2. You got East Union, who is now 1-2 in the division, and you got Strayhorn, who is 1-2 in the division. Now Strayhorn, no, they're 1-1 in the division. Strayhorn goes to Water Valley this Friday night, and Bruce goes to Strayhorn at the end of the season. Now, if you don't understand the tiebreaker in Mississippi high school athletics, then let me just give you a synopsis. Let me give you the Cliff Notes of it. Now, if 2 teams in the division have the same record, then it's straight head-to-head. An example, if Bruce is 2-2 and East Union is 2-2, and those are the only 2 teams that's 2-2, then East Union will have the tiebreaker because they beat us straight up.
Right.
Now, it's different when it's 3 teams, and that's the situation that we are trying to avoid. Now, if Bruce beat Myrtle this week and beats Strayhorn next week, Bruce would be 2-2. Myrtle would be 2-2. East Union would be 1-3 if Water Valley beats them, and Strayhorn would be 1-3, in which East Union would get in because they beat Strayhorn. Strayhorn would get in because they beat East Union. Bruce would be the number 2 seed if they beat Myrtle straight up. Now, here's the murky part of it. If right now there's a point system, when there's a possibility of a 3-way tie, you always go to the points. Now, if your team get beat by 12 points or more, the maximum number that you can put down is either a +12 or a -12. We lost to Water Valley. I think we lost to Water Valley by 2 touchdowns, I believe. So
24-20.
So we're at a -12 with Water Valley. We lost to East Union by 6. So Bruce is at a -18 right now. Strayhorn is at a -18 right now. Now, if Bruce lose this weekend and beat Strayhorn the following weekend, then there's a strong possibility that there is a 3-way tie with Strayhorn, Bruce, and East Union. And at that point, it's all about the points. It's not about how it goes straight off the points. And whoever has the most points in that 3-way tie situation with like opponents, because we've all played the same opponent. So it's going to go down to those points. And the numbers that I gave you, just to give you an example, let's say Myrtle.
This is for what? And in this scenario, this is for what seed?
This would be for the 3rd and 4th seed.
Okay.
Let's say Myrtle go 1-3. Let's say Strayhorn go 1-3, and let's say East Union go 1-3. So that's a 3-way tie. Let's say Myrtle lost to one team by 4, beat one team by 2, so now they're at a -2, and they lose to another team by 6, so they're at a -8. Let's say Strayhorn, all those 3 games, they end up at a +1. Let's say East Union is at a -2. East Union and Strayhorn makes the playoff, and Myrtle is out. Now you can say, well, Myrtle beat Strayhorn. How is Strayhorn getting in? Myrtle beat them. But when it's a 3-way tie, then it falls down on the points. And you do not want your playoff life to be on points. Trail senior year, they made the playoff off of points. The year we won the state championship, Coach, we had to beat Count City by so many points to even make the playoffs. Before that night hit, we were officially out of the playoffs. We had to beat Count City by so many points to bump Okolona out of the playoffs. That team, if they would have beat Count City by only 3, then we'd have never knew how good they could have been. Coach, your senior year, we won the division because Calhoun City didn't beat us by the correct number of points.
Yep.
So the point system is a funky monster. That's why this Friday game is the most important game of the season. I know we said this against Water Valley, and it was because the Water Valley game was going to determine.
At that moment, we thought that was that could be your division. And here comes East Union with a surprise for us. And, I don't know how much you want to get into Myrtle, but
we'll get deeper into Myrtle. We'll get deeper into the Myrtle Thursday night. I can say this. Y'all ain't got to worry about no pregame show, because pregame show is 0-2. So I can tell you right now, we'll talk to you after the game, but we definitely ain't talking to nobody before no game, so don't even ask about no pregame show. There will not be no Coach and Coach pregame this Friday night. I can tell you that. But that is where we're at right now, and man, it's for fans, yeah, it's exciting. For coaches, it's not exciting.
It's heartbreaking.
Players really don't know this stuff. Players just go out there and play. I've been in this situation in basketball where I ended up in a 3-way tie, and I think we end up being the number 2 seed because the point situation. That's why in basketball, you'll see teams and people that get mad, like, why they still got their starters in? Well, we're trying to get to a certain point. So if we beat you by 20, then we can go ahead and lock that in.
Yeah.
So that's why their starters are still out there. That's why they still pressing. Even last year, outside of Ingomar, I would let a coach know if I know that we was, better than them. I said, look, coach, I got to get to this point. I got to get to this point. And once I get there, I ease off of you. But if you keep your starters in, then we're going to keep on rolling. And once my players got to that point, we pressed. Once we got to that number we needed, and I know, okay, they can't erase the points that we have, then we went on about it. So that's why when you see teams doing that, so Friday night game is a critical game that can be, and it's like I said, when I say the dynamic of that, you can be a number 2 seed after Friday night, or you can be almost out of the playoffs Friday night. That is crazy.
But hey, at least for now, you are in control of your destiny somewhat. So you got to go win a game.
Coach, somebody in the chat said Vardaman runs Bruce in all sports. Do I need to bring up? I ain't gonna even bring it up. I ain't gonna even mess with that. Hey, man, go ahead and tap that screen, man. I love your confidence. I love your confidence, brother. Vardaman runs Bruce in all sports. Okay. It said, now I got to, hey, chat, y'all don't argue on chat now. Y'all stop that. I gotta whoop the chat right now. Y'all stop arguing over there. Lord have mercy. Y'all quit arguing on there now. Y'all stop it. Y'all stop it. let me answer this last thing. Why he said that? He said, "Are
We
we
ain't
still?"
scared of TC.
Uh,
What?
you know, this is y'all first year playing Count City in like 10 years, and the only reason you're playing because y'all in their division. That's all I'm gonna say. You wouldn't play them when you was in the division when y'all went in division with them, and the only reason you playing them now is because they're in your division. So who been scared? Because y'all ain't played them. Now I don't like to get on my fans now, but boy, I get a little physical. I get a little physical. Y'all didn't play them for almost 20 years. Didn't want no part of them. And then the MHSAA said, y'all got to be in a division. And what did y'all do? Man, we got to play them now. So don't do that. Don't do that. So, Coach, Friday night, man, it's going to be on. And Coach, man, I do got one more thing that we definitely got to talk about. We got to talk about. Let me pull my clip up. Oh man, this when I say bad moment, when I say I'm just gonna let the audience talk. What the heck? Tonight's what the heck moment comes from a game that I was watching on Sunday, Coach. I was sitting down and I was so excited. I was saying, man, look at our quarterback. He's having an amazing day, Coach. Coach, everything was going right. It was, and we got to the fourth quarter, and I said, boy, they about to tear him on up, man. Coach, our quarterback had 283 yards passing.
You look
Whoa,
good.
that is our guy, Coach. He's been with us for so many years. And at the end of three quarters, Coach, it was 19-0. I said, yeah, buddy, it's going good. So, Coach, only 52 seconds into the fourth quarter, the Broncos scored. Okay, that's fine. Good job. 19-8. We got it. 4 minutes later, Jackson Dart dropped back and he laid one in Theo Johnson's lap. 41 yards. He touched the goalpost. With 10 minutes to go in the game, Coach, the New York Football Giants was up 26-8. So 5 minutes went by. Bo Nix scored. It looked like the defense had already said this game is over with. They went home. So they scored 26-16. No worries. 10-point lead. It's under 4 minutes. We're gonna run this clock out. We're gonna run this clock out. Okay, they didn't. Then all of a sudden, the Broncos scored again. It's 26-23. Coach, even I'm getting nervous. Now, all of a sudden, Bo Nix, he scores again, Coach. The Broncos are up 30-26. Wait a minute, Coach. It was 19-0 going into the fourth quarter. Now, all of a sudden, the Denver Broncos unscored 30 points. But Jackson Dart, he put that, he used to wear that mark on his eyes. He looked like Anakin Skywalker. He was young Anakin. He was He was Anakin before he was Darth Vader. And he told him, he said it was his destiny. And he led that team all the way down with only 37 seconds to go in the ball game. Jackson Dart dives into the end zone. Touchdown! Woo! The fans are celebrating. Oh, man, they're about to go up 3. It got scary, but we got this game. Then all of a sudden, the kicker come out. You got one job. That's all you do every day. You ain't got to lift. You don't get tackled. He gets out there. He misses the extra point. And then, with only 37 seconds, the Denver Broncos drove all the way down, and Will Lutz kicked a 39-yard field goal. And the Broncos beat the Giants 33-32. What the heck? At this point, Coach, you got to fire everybody. The head coach, the general manager, the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, the equipment guy, the janitor got to be fired. Whoever works in the cafeteria got to be fired. The bus driver got to be fired. Everybody in the building got to go. The Giants are done.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think we had talked about it, and I'd said that maybe you give the guy a chance to figure it out, because what if a new coaching staff comes in and kind of messes things up, but Dart doesn't get the chance he deserves. But I thought that but after what you said, I think that Dart will be the guy, and I think he's done well enough. I think he's a hero for New York. I think he's going to be a legend for New York, and I hope that they can get him what he needs, get Scatterbo what he needs, because they got the defense, they've got some good pieces, and get that thing figured out, and because they should have won that game Sunday.
Coach, at this rate, Scatterbo will be out of the league in 3 years. You can't be running over everybody. This is the NFL. This is not what you think it is. Yeah, he'll be out of the league in 3 years. But Coach, I got to delete somebody because they don't understand that I can track down their stuff. I can talk to you in person. Yeah, they one thing about it, I don't mind good banter on our podcast and stuff, but when you start making situations like that, then that'll get you blocked. So Mr. Short Clips 1216, if you want to be famous, we just made you famous. You've been blocked from the Coach and Coach podcast, and we'll find out who you are. Just give me a little time. We'll find out who you is. I don't mind good banter, but when you go taking shots like that, then I will definitely block you, and I will make sure I get your account blocked. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I know some people. But Coach, we man, that's all. Outside the NBA is back tonight. Man, that's all I got on the register tonight. I know we had story time tonight, but I'm gonna save story time to later on.
Yeah, it's been a good talk. I think the way the college football season's playing out, I've really enjoyed being able to get on here and talk. And I've got to get into the swing of basketball. I think that for me, I'm not going to be that guy that can give you the ins and outs of everything. That'll be you, but I can give my take and keep this thing rolling.
Oh yeah. Well, man, I'm gonna try to get my voice back. I try my best not to do all that yelling on the sideline, but it never works out for me. I still end up yelling and screaming and all of that stuff, and that's why my voice sounds a little raspy tonight. But hey, we got it done tonight, man. And I tell you what, you don't want to miss the Thursday night show because Coach he unwatched so much film that you definitely don't want to miss Thursday night. And on Thursday night, we will have our special guest on Thursday night. We got the governor coming in. The governor is going to come in and he's going to sit down with us and he's going to explain to us some of his picks. I'm very curious of who he picked. So, Coach, anything else to hold our attention?
Man, I'm just excited to see him on Thursday. He does the thing at picking but we got to get a Bruce pick out of him. He didn't put that on Facebook. So we got.
Oh yeah, got to get him. You gonna have to give me a pick on Bruce, man. You can't just leave that out.
Yeah.
Can't be scared. We ain't scared around here. Can't be scared. Well, Coach, man, good show tonight, and I'm looking forward to Thursday because we're really gonna dive deep into the Ole Miss and Oklahoma game. And we also going to dive deep into the Bruce and Myrtle game. And we also going to have a little story time for you. We might have two stories. We might have one from Coach and one from me. But we welcome back NBA. Welcome back sports and all. And man, we will see you guys on this Thursday night. So when we see you, make sure you're ready to roll. That's the coach. He's the offensive coordinator. I'm the defensive coordinator, and we are signing out. Coach and Coach Podcast.